today I'll be taking you through a topic called developing confidence, your speech class. So basically this is about how to develop your confidence in your presentation, and it is part of the art of public speaking. And everything that I'm going to talk about in this presentation comes from the book by Stephen Lucas, who is a professor in the US, who has authored the book, The Art of Public Speaking. I know there's also another book with a similar title, but it's not the one that I'm going to use. So what are our intended learning outcomes? So today we are just basically going to look at understanding the causes of public speaking anxiety, and we're also going to discuss the solutions of dealing with public speaking anxiety, or PSA. Stage fright actually is a problem to many people, not only to you or to myself, but to everyone. And we know that before we begin to do anything, there's anxiety. But now let's move on to this quotation by Jerry Seinfeld. According to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. So death is number two. Can you imagine death is number two? And does that seem right? Are you afraid of dying than making a speech? So to the average person, that means that if they have to go to a funeral, they would be better off in a casket than giving the eulogy. So that is by Jerry Seinfeld. So anxiety over the prospect of giving a speech in front of an audience is what we call stage fright. So people fear standing in front of others to share what they have to share. But let me encourage you that nervousness is normal. What happens when you're nervous is that your body at that particular time is responding by producing extra adrenaline. This is a hormone that is released into the bloodstream in response to physical or mental stress. And this is an energy that you can use either positively or negatively. And so you will notice that actors are nervous before a play. Politicians also before their campaign speech are also nervous. And so are athletes, preachers, teachers, and other professionals. Before they do a major presentation, you'll find that they are nervous. So please note that nervousness is normal. Now, how do you reduce this nervousness? And, we want to deal with this nervousness. We want to get rid of it and ensure that we are doing the right thing. Number one, you need to acquire speaking experience. The more you speak, the more you practice public speaking, the more you overcome public speaking anxiety, or PSA. Number two, preparation is key. That is why we have emphasized the word prepare. And I've made 3 emphases: prepare, prepare, prepare. And if you don't prepare, basically what you're doing, you're preparing to fail. And then the other thing that you need to do in order to overcome public speaking anxiety is to think positively. Thinking positively is key to overcoming public speaking anxiety, because you have seen yourself doing the right thing, and you're thinking about yourself in a positive manner. You're looking upon yourself as someone who is able to do it. And closely related to that is use the power of visualization. So you see yourself, making that powerful speech. Visualize yourself presenting to these number of people, be it 1,000, 20,000, or even 5 people, but doing it in a powerful way. So use the power of visualization. Then know that most nervousness is not visible. Sometimes we think that when you're standing in front of people and you're sharing your information, that people can be able to see that nervousness inside of you. No, know that nervousness is not visible. Of course, people will not see your heart beating inside there. They will not see the butterfly in your stomach, but know that it's not visible. And then also don't expect perfection. There's nothing like a perfect speech. There's nothing like a perfect presentation. There's nothing perfect, but just prepare and do your best. So there are other ways of reducing this public speaking anxiety, which are of a lesser value compared to the 6 that I've shared. These others include be at your physically best and mentally. So you need to be exercising. You need to prepare physically, do some exercises, relax, sleep. Well, don't sleep at midnight or past midnight and you're presenting the following day. No, that won't work. Then also, before you go to speak, you can do some therapeutic exercises, such as quietly tightening and relaxing your leg muscles. Can you try that? Tighten, and then you relax. And then you can also squeeze your hands together. Then take a couple of slow, deep breaths. Don't breathe so fast, because by breathing quickly, that will reinforce anxiety. Work especially hard in your introduction, because introduction is like your foundation. If your introduction is not, well done, you'll find that it will affect the entire presentation. Then also make eye contact with the member of your audience. Try to look at them eyeball to eyeball. If it's a huge number, then you can just occasionally look at those who are sitting in front and occasionally looking at those who are sitting at the back. This will reduce that anxiety. Then concentrate on communicating with your audience. Don't concentrate upon yourself, thinking about how are they seeing me and so on and so forth. And then also use visual aid, because when you use visual aid, your listeners will focus upon what you're presenting vis-a-vis focusing on you, the presenter. That definitely will reduce speech anxiety. So in conclusion, I say that major concerns of students in any speech class is stage fright. Students fear presenting in front of people. But overcoming is possible. It is possible to overcome stage fright if you, one, because we are concluding, think positively, prepare thoroughly, number 2. Number 3, visualize yourself giving a successful speech, and then keep in mind that most nervousness is not visible to the audience, and then think of your speech as communication rather than as a performance in which you do everything perfectly. So there's nothing like a perfect speech.
It's very common among highly creative people, both artists and scientists, and I'd like to give it a name: slow motion multitasking. Slow motion multitasking feels like a counterintuitive idea. What I'm describing here is having multiple projects on the go at the same time, and you move backwards and forwards between topics as the mood takes you, or as the situation demands. But the reason it seems counterintuitive is because we're used to lapsing into multitasking out of desperation. We're in a hurry. We want to do everything at once. If we were willing to slow multitasking down, we might find that it works quite brilliantly.